Hey there, folks. If you're like me, you've probably been hearing a lot of buzz about the Southern Connector extension lately, and if you're also like me, you might be wondering what all the fuss is about. Well, let me tell you, as someone who's had the pleasure, or displeasure, depending on your perspective, of driving on it a few times now, I think I can give you a pretty good rundown. First off, let's talk about the basics. The Southern Connector extension is a new highway that connects the western part of Orlando to the east. It runs parallel to the infamous I-4, and it's meant to alleviate some of the congestion on that road. So, is it effective? Well, yes and number. On the one hand, it's certainly faster than sitting in I-4 traffic during rush hour. On the other hand, it's also a toll road, which means you're going to be shelling out some cash every time you use it. And depending on where you're going, it might not actually save you any time. I've found that during certain times of day, the Southern Connector extension can be just as backed up as I-4 itself. But here's the thing, even if it's not always the most efficient route, there's something kind of satisfying about cruising down a brand new highway. The road is smooth and well maintained, and it's got some pretty impressive views of the surrounding areas. Plus, there's something to be said for the feeling of being on a road that's not yet totally overrun with traffic and construction. Of course, all of this is subjective. I know plenty of people who think the Southern Connector extension is a waste of money, and others who swear by it as the fastest way to get from one side of town to the other. As for me, I'm somewhere in the middle. It's not my go-to route for every trip, but it's a nice change of pace every now and then. So, there you have it, my take on the Southern Connector extension. Is it a game changer? Not necessarily, but it's a decent alternative to the nightmare that is I-4, and for that, I'm grateful. Oh darling, let me tell you about Florida 417. It's simply marvelous. This toll road is a true gem of Florida's transportation network. Firstly, the scenery on this road is absolutely stunning. The lush greenery and beautiful flowers that line the highway make for a delightful drive. And darling, let's not forget the spectacular views of Orlando and its surrounding areas. But what truly sets Florida 417 apart from other toll roads is its efficiency. The traffic flows smoothly and quickly, making it a breeze to get from point A to point B. And with the use of SunPass, you don't even have to stop to pay tolls. It's like magic, darling. And let's not forget about the amenities along the way. The rest areas are clean and well maintained, and they even have lovely picnic areas for a mid-drive snack. Now, I know some may argue that tolls are a nuisance, but trust me, darling, the convenience and efficiency of Florida 417 make it worth every penny. And let's face it, sometimes you have to pay a little extra for a touch of luxury. Overall, I highly recommend Florida 417 to anyone who wants a smooth, efficient, and beautiful driving experience. It's simply fabulous. Darling, oh honey, let me tell you about the toll roads in Orlando. They're a wild ride. Let me tell you, I've been on more of these roads than I can count, and let me tell you, it's always an adventure. Now, the first thing you got to know is that there are tolls everywhere, and I mean everywhere. You can't go 5 minutes without having to fork over some cash. But don't worry, darling. It's all part of the fun. And let's talk about the SunPass. It's like a little magic wand that lets you breeze through the tolls without even stopping. It's like being a VIP, darling. And let me tell you, I've got my SunPass in my pocket at all times, ready to work its magic. But sometimes, darling, you gotta pay the toll collector. And let me tell you, those guys are characters. I've had some wild interactions with them, especially when I've had a little too much to drink. But that's all part of the fun, right? Now, the toll roads themselves can be a little confusing, especially when you've had a few too many cocktails. But I just let my GPS do the work, and I've always managed to get where I need to go. Overall, darling, the toll roads in Orlando are a wild and fun ride. Just make sure you've got your SunPass ready and a little bit of cash on hand, and you'll be good to go. Cheers to a fabulous time on the road. Let me tell you about the craziest things that have happened on Florida 417. Buckle up, because this is going to be quite the ride. First of all, there was the time a driver in a pickup truck was being chased by police and decided to take the 417 as his getaway route. As if that wasn't enough, He ended up crashing through the toll booth, leaving destruction in his wake. Can you imagine the chaos that caused? And then there was the time a woman decided it was a good idea to drive the wrong way on the 417. Of course, she ended up causing a massive accident, injuring multiple people and leaving a trail of destruction in her wake. It's just mind-boggling how people can be so reckless on the roads. But my absolute favorite incident has to be the time a truck carrying gallons of paint overturned on the 417. Can you imagine the mess that created? It was like a rainbow had exploded all over the highway. Of course, it caused a major backup, but let's be real, it was worth it for the entertainment value. Now, I don't condone reckless driving or dangerous behavior on the roads, but let's be real, sometimes it's just too outrageous not to talk about. And with the crazy things that have happened on Florida 417,